a few times. And his face is so beautiful. It's shining, and his light, his eyes, when I first really saw him in a full vision, I was unable to say no anymore. No to him. I was seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of children. I believe there were hundreds of thousands, and I was crying no because I didn't understand how you could feed all of them. But then I saw his face, and I saw his eyes, and these eyes, they just burn like holy fire, like liquid love, and his eyes just pierce your soul like a spotlight into your soul, into your heart, and these burning eyes of flaming love just burned inside my heart and ripped the no out of me. I couldn't say no anymore. And he said I died, that there would always be enough. And his eyes are just so beautiful, and his face so glorious. But then he showed me his body, and his body was broken and bruised. And I just looked at it, and I thought, God, that's just horrible. But he pulled a piece of flesh out of his side. He just pulled it right out of his side. And he said, feed the children. And he handed it to me like that. And I looked at his flesh, that bruised, bloody flesh. And I thought, how can you feed that to children? He said, feed it to the children. I reached out my hand, and it turned into bread. Whoa! It turned into bread. And then for hours and hours, I passed it out. And he said I died, that there would always be enough. And then he put a cup next to his side. Whoa! And it was a poor man's cup. It wasn't gold, it wasn't jeweled, it wasn't beautiful. It was a poor man's cup. It was wooden. It looked like a Mozambican cup. It was just a half of a gourd. Poor man's cup. And he filled it with blood and water. He said, it's suffering and joy. Will you drink it? And he spoke that to me through his eyes without speaking. He spoke it through his eyes of love. He said, it's a cup of suffering and joy. Will you drink it? And I said, yes, Lord. And I drank. He said, the suffering is seeing. You will see what I see and feel what I feel. And he said, the joy is knowing there's always enough because I died. And I reached out that cup to the first child, and it became drink for them. And every one of them drank. And I know that the body of Christ, we're called to eat, and we're called to drink, and we're called to see his beautiful face, and to enter into his suffering and to his joy.